Hey everyone, Walter Crosby, your host of Sales and Cigars. We've got another episode today with Bryan Clayton. Bryan is the founder of a second business called GreenPal. It's what it is an app, and he refers to it as the Uber of landscaping. So if you're a homeowner, you go to this app, you punch in your address, and you'll have opportunity to get quotes to get your grass cut, your bushes trimmed, your snow removal, all of that done, and you'll get estimates sent to you, and you get to pick. There's reviews on this app. It's a really great idea. Bryan tells a story about how he started his business. It's a real entrepreneurial story. We talk a little bit. He's got a great cigar story from Cuba. So it's a true entrepreneur, a guy who's busted his butt for years and has a mission. And we talk about purpose and as to how your business can be part of your purpose. So go grab a cocktail, grab a cigar, strap in for another episode of Sales and Cigars. Thanks. So, Bryan, I really appreciate you taking a few minutes to jump on the podcast. Thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me on. It's great to be here.
You're Tennessee boy, is that right?
That's right. Yeah. Nashville, Tennessee, born and raised.
I love that town. It's just there's energy there. There's a cool vibe. You got a Vanderbilt, and then the hockey. It's just it's got everything: culture, sports, music.
Not too big, not too small. It's probably the only city in the world that owns a genre of music, which is kind of cool. It's definitely a great place to visit, great place to live.
Yeah, we've gone there a couple of times, and just really nice people too. And great food.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about. I want to get to your app GreenPal, but let's talk about before. You built a hell of a business, landscaping business, Peachtree. Can you tell us a little story about how you got there? Because that's not your typical average landscaping business.
Yeah, I think there's maybe some sort of correlation between the least glamorous your business idea, the greater your odds of success. That certainly has been the case for me. I started mowing yards in high school as a way to make extra cash. My dad actually made me go mow the neighbor's yard one day. He said, "Get off your butt. I got a gig for you. You're going to go mow the neighbor's grass." Luckily, he did that. I made $20 and I was hooked. I was hooked ever since then. First thing I did is pass out a bunch of flyers all over the neighborhood. And by the end of that first summer, I had like 10 customers, and I stuck with this lawn mowing business that I had all through high school, all through college. And after I graduated college, I decided, hey, this could be my lane. I don't really want to be a lawn guy my whole life, but the business ownership could be my lane to make something of myself. And so I made a little business plan, and over a 15-year period of time, just kind of hustled and built one of the larger landscaping companies in the southeastern United States. Ended up getting over 150 employees, 8 figures a year in revenue. And then in 2013, the business was acquired by a national organization. So growing that from like just me and a push mower to me and 90 trucks going out every day, I learned a lot about business. In many cases, the hard way, just through trial and error, but learned a lot about how to grow and scale a company. And then after I sold that company, I took some time off, maybe about a year off, and I got bored. And I thought, well, what am I going to do now? And I thought, what's missing in my life is the project, the mission, the business, the challenges, and all of those things. And so the idea I came to me that an app should exist, like Uber, but for lawn mowing services. I thought somebody's going to build it. Might as well be me. And how hard could it be? And luckily, I didn't know what I didn't know. It's kind of naivete as an asset. But I recruited 2 co-founders, and we started working on the idea for GreenPal, which is the business I'm working on now. And GreenPal is a 10-year overnight success. Been at this for over a decade. And now we're nationwide in the United States, anywhere in the United States with a population of over like 15,000 people. You can download our app and order a lawn mowing service just like you would an Uber.
So lawn care, do you, like we up here have fairly harsh winters. You guys do snow removal things too? Is that part of the program?
We focus on lawn care. That's 90% of the activity that happens on the platform. But other things you need to get done around your house, like shrubs, bushes, seeding, leaf removal, and snow removal. landscaping contractors provide those services as well, and so our app facilitates those as well. So we are the nationwide largest provider of lawn care services for residences and also snow removal services. So in the Northeast, Chicago area, it's really big. I grew up in Nashville, so I didn't really know that people order snow removal services for their home, much like you would a lawn mowing service. So we built that out about 2 years ago, and it works well. People get a lot of value from it, and our contractors make a lot of money on it too.
Yeah. So, I mean, sometimes it's the same contractor that does the lawn work as well as the snow removal work.
That's right.
Some of our,
The two complement each other.
they do if the business is able to migrate that and keep the staff and that. So let's go back to the high school guy with the lawnmower. Like how long did Pops allow you to use his lawnmower to cut grass? When did you have to start buying your own equipment?
It wasn't. He luckily he let me use our stuff for as long as I wanted to, but it wasn't long before I figured out that I could make more money with better stuff. And so one of the cool things about the lawn mowing business is that it teaches you basically capital allocation in a way. You understand that, hey, I made $500 this week, but if I saved like 10 grand, I could buy a lawnmower that would make me $2,000 a week. And so you learn that firsthand. You also learn that, man, I mean, I'm getting worn out by 2:00 in the afternoon because I'm walking all day. If I had, one of these commercial zero turn riders, I could probably work 13 hours a day. And then, now your helper is getting burnt out. You want to make the job more so like the business teaches you the nuts and bolts of capital allocation, of money coming in and investing money to go make more money. And that was one of the cool things about it. So I figured that out like in the first summer, that this piece of crap Murray lawnmower that we've got ain't going to cut it. I was literally in 1995 making like $600 a week mowing grass, which in today's money is probably like $2 or $3 grand.
Sure.
And quickly outgrew that stuff.
So, you took the challenge from your father, but it requires a work ethic, especially in that business, to be able to get up, whether you want to or not, to go out into the sun, go out, into the heat, the humidity, and just keep grinding that out. And because you were doing the work and finding new accounts as well.
Oh yeah. That's one of the things that, the lawn mowing business teaches you is you have to be able to wear multiple hats. You have to work in the business and on the business at the same time. And so, Monday through Friday, I'd be mowing grass, Saturdays also. And then maybe Sundays I would go out and try to hustle up more work. And then, I hustled up enough work to where I got a part-time employee, then a full-time employee, then 2 crews, and then 3 crews, 4 crews, 5 crews. And then after 5 crews, I realized, okay, my job is now I'm the sales manager. I have to run a sales process. So I had to build a sales process from scratch. And then after we grew to like 20, 30 people, I had 2 or 3 salespeople working for me. And then now I was managing them. Then it got to the point where that was too much. So I had to have a sales manager manage salespeople. And so you kind of grow with the business, and you acquire the skills you have to acquire just through trial and error. And, maybe if you're smart, you read books and you listen to podcasts like this one, and you go to YouTube University. Back then, we didn't have any of that stuff.
So did you find a mentor? Or did you find somebody that had built a business, or somebody you could pick ideas from?
Honestly, no. But I was lucky in the sense that I had a affluent clientele, and so I was able to see firsthand really successful people that were no smarter than I was. And so I remember, for instance, there was this one guy, one of my wealthiest clients was a guy that I don't think he graduated high school, but he had a series of like insurance businesses. And I was able to look at this guy and say, man, I mean, he's a great guy, one of my favorite customers, but he seems like an idiot to me. And maybe it's a shtick, I don't know, but like, I mean, this dude's like got to be worth $10 million. And I mean, he's no smarter than me. So it was like, that was validation to me that business ownership was my lane, that if I just worked my butt off and built a good team around me, that I too could build an 8-figure business. even in the landscaping business, which doesn't happen often.
No, it doesn't.
But as I grew that company, I then, started to network with other big landscaping company owners in other markets. And I would go to trade shows and I would meet with other landscaping conglomerates in other major cities. So like there was one guy in Chicago actually that I kind of like went to his shop and he showed me, their systems, showed me their processes, and he had 300 employees and they were doing 30 million a year in revenue. And so I was able to learn a lot from other companies in other cities that were doing it bigger and better than I was, and kind of take their processes and put it in my business. So that was one way I was able to kind of level up. And back then, Nashville's grown a lot in the last 20 years. Back then, it was a lot smaller. So a lot of these types of sophisticated processes hadn't made it their way into our industry in our city. So I was able to kind of be one of the first to do those sorts of things.
I've got a few clients who they didn't go to college, they didn't get any MBAs, but they built successful businesses because, in my mind, they had an idea and they were willing to do the work. Even when they failed, they would take and learn from that and keep going forward. And it sounds like there was a lot of that with you building this business. You were just willing to bust your butt and keep going and learning as you went.
Yeah, you nailed it. I think that's one of the big things I've noticed from successful business owners and everybody else is that, yeah, they had an idea, but they also did something with it, and they took action in the face of uncertainty and just learned from their mistakes as they went. I mean, I got a buddy that also didn't go to college who runs a little miniature Airbnb empire, who's now sitting on like $15 million in real estate. And he all started 5 years ago when he decided to rent his bedroom out on Airbnb and live in his garage. And, that little piece of action he took, and learning from that and snowballing it into something bigger, it's the action, because everybody's got ideas. It's the doing something with it, is what separates like true founders and entrepreneurs from everybody else.
Yeah, there's taking the action, and I think sometimes what stops people from doing that is their fear of failing, and not everything doesn't always have to work. And I know I've owned businesses, I've had success, I've had failures. It's part of it's part of learning, and I think the lessons that I've learned from screwing something up or making a mistake are way more lasting than the ones that, I did something and it worked out great. It's just part of being successful.
Yeah, which is almost never.
Yeah, it's true. That is true.
Yeah, almost looking at everything as like an experiment, really. It's like, okay, I want to be in the real estate game. But I don't know the first thing about real estate. Well, okay, the first one is going to be a learner, and I'm just going to learn as much as I can, and not run the risk of ruin doing it. And then I'll know more, and I can do the second one and third one better. You really kind of have to look at it that way: is that it really is just one big experiment, and there's learning and improving along the way.
And in running a business, you're responsible for other people as you build it, right? As the part-time person, the full-time people, and you get to 150 employees. I mean, there's a level of responsibility there. But to me, that's like, yeah, it's responsible, but you're giving back. You're helping all of these families, provide housing and food on the table. I don't know, that to me, that's a source of pride and even a bigger driver than money, right? You're doing something for the community and helping.
It's a source of purpose, I think. I think you're exactly right. And I read a book on psychology a couple years back, and this guy was talking about Viktor Frankl and Freud. And Freud was a philosopher and pontificated that pleasure came or happiness came from pleasure, and that humans were pleasure seeking, and that was really all that humans were after, was just seeking like the good life and pleasure. And then Viktor Frankl came along and said, no, that's not where happiness comes from. Happiness comes from purpose, having a mission in life, having a real reason to get out of bed. If I didn't get out of bed in the morning, why does it matter? And so I think looking at it that way, like my purpose is what makes me happy in life. Your business can be the answer to that question. It can be the purpose of why you get out of bed in the morning. Always has been for me the last 22 years. That's why I do what I do, is because there's employees that count on me. There's stakeholders that count on me. There's business partners. There's customers. There's all of these people that get value from the project that I'm a part of. And that becomes my purpose. And so that's always been the way I've seen it. It sounds like you see it the same way.
I do. I do. And it's not, I don't know that everybody looks at it from a perspective, because there's plenty of people that are in business just to make a buck and don't think about, they think of transactions instead of relationships. They think of selling something instead of trying to help someone. And when you can combine all of that with, like, I'm trying to get this place. I need something to like you said, get out of bed in the morning, but I need something to drive my passion. I need that to be who I am.
Yep.
That's not, that's what makes someone special like yourself, to be able to build some business, sell it, and then jump back into another project that you're actually serving the community that you left. Like, all of those other landscaper folks now can sign up for GreenPal and have an opportunity for inbound opportunities just coming to them because they're part of this network. That's true, right? You're helping all these
Exactly.
young kids with the mower.
You nailed it. That's exactly why we exist. That's exactly why we do what we do, is to be like a business in a box for anybody that wants to work hard and make a good living in the landscaping industry. We help them get all the customers they want, help them get paid, help them organize everything, and help them make material income. And we have hundreds and hundreds of stories of people that are like, thank you, GreenPal. I was able to put a kid through college, or I was able to pay off my mortgage, or I was able to qualify for a mortgage, or I was able to buy a mower that I can ride on rather than having to walk around all day, or I was able to pay off my student loan debt, whatever. That's a lot of fun. That's why we do what we do, is to help these folks improve their station in life. And the lawn care business is the vehicle. They're the ones working their butts off. We just help them do it better, easier, faster, more efficiently.
Well, it's not something you had when you were pushing the lawnmower in the neighborhood, and it's just one of those ideas that flowed out of it. So congratulations for having the success, and congratulations for actually taking that purpose and giving back and helping out all these other folks that, because you probably don't have a personal relationship with all those folks, but those people are really being impacted by what you and your team are doing. That's awesome.
Yeah, and to your point, there's 32,000 that use the platform now, and I don't know all of them personally. But when we were first starting the business, the first 500 service providers all had my cell phone number. And so I would talk to these folks on an ongoing basis, 7 days a week, getting real empathy for the struggles they face growing their business. And now we try to do that at scale. We have a Facebook group that 4,000 or 5,000 of them are in. And so we're always talking to each other in that group, celebrating successes, figuring out ways to improve the platform. And so that makes it a lot of fun. It makes it worthwhile, especially the first 3 or 4 years were really challenging getting the business going.
Well, you built another community. So have you ever thought about doing like a little side gig where you're mentoring or coaching the young guys with the lawnmower, or the young gals with the lawnmower? Like, not, I guess we shouldn't be sexist about it. Like, getting out there and helping them see that there is a path, that there is direction to building something that goes beyond one push 19-inch Murray lawnmower.
Yeah. So the first, when we were getting the platform going, I actually did that as a way to attract our early adopting contractors, because 8-9 years ago the platform really kind of sucked. It didn't have all the tools it needed. So we kind of needed them to use it almost in a benevolent way. And the way we would kind of get them to stick around is I would offer them coaching on how to grow their lawn mowing business. And as an exchange for that, they would use the platform to quote yards and do business. As time went on, we were able to make it more self-serve. And so for like 3 or 4 years, did a lot of that and enjoyed the hell out of it. And nowadays, I still do a little bit of coaching and mentoring for entrepreneurs, just as a hobby, because it's fun for me to see other people, building projects and succeeding, and I love helping somebody avoid a mistake I've made.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think no matter what I'm doing, I'm always going to be doing that in some shape or form because I enjoy it. It makes me feel better, and it keeps me sharp.
Yeah, it's for me. I mean, we like engagements and we like getting paid. But one of the best parts of an engagement for what I do is watching a sales manager or a salesperson elevate, build that confidence, and create some wins. That to me is that's the joy, and you get that phone call like, "Hey, I tried that thing you told me to do, and it worked, and I closed the deal." Like that makes my week when I hear that. It's just awesome.
Exactly. That's purpose. That's why you get out of bed and deal with the challenging parts of growing a business, because when you see it work and you see it help somebody else change their life, that's fun. That's why I do what I do.
Yep. Awesome. So I always like to end with sales and cigars. I like to just see if a guest has any type of relationship or family members. Sometimes there's a good story. Any relationship with cigars?
I don't smoke cigars. I never took to them for some reason, but I do have a cigar story that almost cost me big time one time. I went to Cuba, and what they don't tell you about Cuba, I guess they don't. I mean, I didn't know this, but you have no access to the banking system, and American dollars don't work. They don't take American dollars, and so when you get there, you kind of need to have all the money that you need for the whole time because there are no ATMs, and so whatever you got is whatever you got. So I went to Cuba, and I figured, and I thought it was going to be cheap, but it wasn't cheap. And by the third day, I was running out of money. I was like, oh man, I better get back home. And so I changed my flight, and so I was ready to go to the airport, and I had like $40 left, and I wanted to get some Cuban cigars to bring back. And so I spent my last $40. I spent 20 of my last $40 on 2 boxes of Cuban cigars. So now I only got $20 left, and so I'm getting ready to go to the airport. And I thought $20 surely would be enough to go back to the airport, and it wasn't. They wanted $50 US to take me back to the airport. And I thought, well, certainly somebody can help me out. And they said, no, sorry, we work for the government. And so nobody would give me a ride back to the airport. So I was about to miss my flight, and I was out of money. And so I had to quickly think on my feet, and I went to the little touristy area, and I ended up selling a pair of sunglasses to an Australian lady who was also a tourist who felt bad for me for like another $20. And so I was able to hustle up the money I needed for cab fare. So Cuban cigars, a last minute purchase of Cuban cigars almost got my butt stuck in Cuba for probably a month until I don't know how I would have gotten out of there. Cause you don't have Western Union. You don't have ATMs. Really, 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 really interesting country.
I have not been, I have relatives who immigrated, got out of there before Castro took over, but I could not imagine being stuck in Cuba without any money, and that wouldn't end well. I don't think.
Yeah. No money. Credit cards don't work. No ATM. No Western Union. So the implications were serious.
Yeah.
But I made it
highly
out.
Motivated to go sell some sunglasses and other things to get you out of there. That's a good story. I appreciate that. So again, thanks. We're going to have in the show notes how to get connected to the website. But for somebody who's a landscaper that's looking to, they just go to the website and they can sign up, and people that are looking to get their lawns taken care of, they do the same thing. They just punch in their address. Is that how it works?
That's right. Yeah. So if you're a contractor and you want to use the platform to grow your business, just go to the homepage, greenpal.com, scroll to the bottom, click apply as a vendor. And then if you're a homeowner, just go to the webpage, click the big orange button at the top, pop your address in, you'll get free quotes, and you can hire them from there.
Awesome. You make it really, it really kind of is the Uber of the landscaping space. And when they started, they had trouble with their app. It took them a while to get that rolling properly. So, but that guy was an asshole, and you don't seem like,
that's right.
You don't seem like an asshole, so I think you can have an easier time with it. So. Anyway, but
yeah, he's definitely an interesting character.
Yeah, I watched that movie, and if that's at all like the truth, sometimes people succeed despite themselves. It's just, we'll leave it there for now. Bryan, really appreciate, great story, great product. Thank you very much.
Walter, thanks for having me on. I enjoyed it.
Thank you for listening to Sales and Cigars with Walter Crosby of Helix Sales Development. For more on sales and cigars, remember to like, share, and subscribe. Sales and Cigars, produced by thepodcastproshop.com.